do you really want to do this or not? You got to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? And I am a firm believer, just like David Goggins, you know how to make it happen. You know the steps. Deep within you, the steps are in there. But how bad do you want it? Is the pain of where you're at less than the pain it takes to change? That's what you need to ask yourself. I'll tell you right now, when I started this business over 7 years ago, I was at a point where I would rather have died than continue on the same path that I was on. The same path that almost everybody's on. Which is essentially slavery. You work, you eat, you sleep, and then you do it all again every single day. Boom, 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 boom. And after 20 years, you really got nothing to show for it. You know, you don't really make an impact on anybody. You don't really leave a legacy to your kids. Or do you leave anything to your kids? You know? And I was just like, I'm gonna be leaving something. You know? And the coolest part about it is, the longer you've been in business, the easier it gets. You just gotta tell yourself, you know, oh, we've been through worse, we've been through harder. You know, we'll get through this. And realistically, that's true, you know, because when you're starting a business, whether you know it or not, those first years are the hardest. Like, once you get the first years under your belt, you know, you're in kind of a little groove, you know what I mean? You know what it's gonna take. That first year, you don't know what it's gonna take. You're just, you know, you're going all at it, leaving nothing left in the tank, and just praying that it's enough. You know, wondering, is there anything else I can do? What else can I do? You know, don't leave for tomorrow what I can do today type stuff. I'm into 2024 today. That's why you can actually hear me talk. Versus the, you know, the old loud trucks. We are heading out to Timbuktu. So, anyways, I just wanted to do that little video. You know what it takes to be successful. You really do. It's inside of you. You just gotta pull it out. You gotta get that dog, that development, you know, you gotta have that sense of urgency. If you're not using every single hour in your day to progress it, then you're not putting in your 100%. You're probably not even putting in 80%, honestly. You're probably right around 50%, which is just enough to break even. You got to go above and beyond. Yesterday was a long day for me. Total hours worked was about 17. You know, that was a long day. I almost had to park the truck somewhere. I was in truck 94, my side dump, and I was getting it preloaded for one of the employees, and going up the inbound road to King Creek, and it's a really steep hill, and I was loaded, almost sitting at 100,000 pounds, and one of the turbo clamps blew off. Immediately lost all power. It was like poof, and I was like, what was that? Next thing I know, no power at all. I'm like, crap, let's get this thing to the top of the hill. So, you know, I started just downshifting like crazy, you know, trying to, you know, beat the RPM curve, you know. Settled on second gear, make it the rest of the way up that hill. And I'm just listening. I'm just like, I don't hear anything out of the ordinary. I just got no power. What is it? And I get dumped out. I get loaded. Because at that point, I'm like, it's got to be something turbo related. The motor sounds fine. Everything sounds fine. I just don't have any power. I might as well just get loaded and figure it out. So I got loaded, and then I get out on the road, and the truck did not want to really do over 35 miles an hour. So I'm like, man, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna get me home. Let me pull over and take a look and see what's, you know, really going on. Sure enough, one of the turbo boots blew the clamp off right on the intercooler side. On the intercooler, coming right off the turbo. And I was like, oh, there it is. So I put about 6 sets of zip ties on it, because the zip ties I had were not quite long enough to go all the way around. So I just hooked 2 together. Anyways, I had about 6 of them on there. And I called my grandpa. I'm like, hey, what the freaking ant just flying around in here? I'm like, Grandpa, if you have any 5-inch hose clamps, this is like probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock when I called him. And I was like, yo, you got any hose clamps or anything like that? And he's like, well, I know I do. I'll start looking for them. And I'm like, okay, well, don't worry, I'm heading your way. Okay. That was before I put the zip ties on. Then he sent me a video on how to make a hose clamp out of a wire, which, you know, I've already seen that before at the job fair, where they take a wire and they twist it around itself and it tightens itself down. They try and sell you this fancy tool, which you don't really need a fancy tool. All you need is a screwdriver, and you can pretty much accomplish the same thing. But yeah, I pulled over at my little Texaco. Texaco gas station. Put a whole bunch of zip ties on there. And I was like, you know what? If I really run her nice and easy, I should easily be able to get her home. You know, I really only got 2 hills that I gotta really worry about, in my mind. I got the Nisqually Hill. And then I got that hill from I-5 to 101. Those are really the only 2 hills. And then I got kind of a little hill right in Taylortown. And I was just like, yeah, I just won't give her a whole bunch of boost. So that's pretty much what I did. You know, I just kind of babied her. Met my grandpa halfway. He gave me some stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna roll with it. And you know, if it blows the zip ties off, then I'll stop and figure something else out. But so far, it was working when I met him. So I'm like, I'm just gonna run it, send it. I ended up making it all the way home with 6 zip ties on the turbo hose. You know, crazy. I never thought that something like that would work, you know. I figured for sure going up that Nisqually hill, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's gonna hold. I figured the boost would easily blow that apart, you know, but I guess because it's so warm, and you know, those zip ties are plastic, you know, so they stretch a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, you know, they just got a little warm, and you know, they were tight enough to keep most of the pressure in. I'm pretty sure they probably didn't keep all the pressure in. You know, I didn't tighten them so they were gonna like break off or nothing. I just tightened them really snug, you know, put a whole bunch of them on there. Sometimes you gotta think out of the box. You know, a lot of guys are not willing to think out of the box and try an idea that they come up with. Or some guys just don't have any ideas. And to those guys, I feel sorry for you, man. And if you can't come up with any ideas, man, yeah, I don't know how you do it. But anyways, a lot of guys would have had to pull over and, you know, park the truck. I mean, or I'm sure, you know, some people would have just limped it home like that with no power, but dude, when you start going up a hill and you're pulling all motor, when you're loaded, empty maybe, loaded, that's another story. You know, you need that boost. You need that motor supplied with that air, and the only way to do that is that turbo. It just crams that air in there. So, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Find that interview and pull them on out, drag them out, and get to work, get something done that you can be proud of in life, that other people can be, you know, see and be inspired by. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.